And welcome back.
Here we are again, the Horror Guys.
Episode 35.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian.
And we're here to talk about horror movies.
We are.
And enlighten you on how good they are. Or how bad
or
they are sometimes.
Bad sometimes.
Yeah.
Seems like it's 50-50 anymore.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. So what'd we see this week?
Now, this week we're going to cover the Universal Studios movie, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. One of those versus movies.
Madcap comedy and adventure.
No, not this one.
Not so much. Yeah.
From 1943. Then we move up to way back. We did the Bela Lugosi Dracula from 1931.
Mm-hmm.
And this time we're going to go with the Hammer Horror Dracula, Christopher Lee's first Dracula, from 1958. Just plain old called Dracula. Also known as The Horror of Dracula. Probably to relieve confusion over that other movie.
Yeah, that was in my trivia note. They did that in the American version.
Yeah.
They called it The Horror of Dracula to differentiate.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The almost sci-fi movie, Event Horizon from 1997. And our international feature is called Inside from 2007. Inside of what is the question?
I know.
Yes, so do I.
But not yet.
All right, so there's a lot of movie talk there. No, wait, we're not going to go yet. What do we got first?
This episode
Snack
is brought
of the
to you
week.
by...
Well, let's not go that far.
Okay. They're not a sponsor.
This week's snack is going to be Brownie Brittle.
Brittle.
Here, try one of these.
Okay.
I've had this before in like great big pieces. These are like little squares.
It's crunchy. It has chocolate chips.
If you like slightly burnt cookies, or the crust off the top of brownies when it gets hard and crunchy.
That's more what it's like, yes. Yes, the crusty bits of brownie. It's like entirely brownie edge with chocolate chips.
Brownie flavored cookies. Oh yeah, there is chocolate chips.
I want more. These are delightful.
I could eat these all night.
I bet you will. I think we have 2 bags of it.
Okay, so this is
Brownie Brittle Sheila G's. Huh.
Sheila G's Brownie Brittle. Serving size, 1 package, 1 ounce, which is 2 per container. So the whole bag is 240 calories. Now, that's about...
a thumbs up.
Yeah, I like these.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
More of those later.
So anyway, movie snacks, Brownie Brittle.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so what do we watch first?
Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman from 1943.
A lot of growling in this movie.
Yeah, it's not a friendly meeting, really.
From 1943, directed by Roy William Neill, written by Kurt Siodmak, and stars Lon Chaney Jr., Ilona Massey, and Patrick Knowles. 1 hour, 14 minutes.
And Bela Lugosi.
Bela
Lugosi gets a turn at being Frankenstein's monster this time.
I should put that in there. It's not in there.
He's
important.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So at the end of Ghost of Frankenstein, Igor's brain, which was Bela Lugosi, was transplanted into the monster's body, but it rejected because the blood types didn't match, and he was blind and deaf.
And the building burned down.
And, he was smashing around, fumbling around, and burned down the building inadvertently.
So if having your brain surgically rejected isn't enough, burn down.
And then in this movie, he's just fine. With no explanation. He's not burned, he's not blind, he's not deaf.
Yeah.
It's all better. Okay, so it's sort of a sequel, but,
Forget the ending of the previous movie. Something happened along the way.
It's a sequel, and yet it disregards the ending of the previous one.
What'd you think, then?
Overall, pretty good.
I think for what it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, both of these monsters have their origin stories already. You're going to have some excuse to get them in there and fight each other.
And now you bring them together, and a little bit of battling going on.
Rock'em sock'em monsters.
Yeah.
The story is a little light.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I'm going to go 6 of 10.
I think I probably would, too.
Yeah. It's decent, but it's not great.
Yeah. So the Lon Chaney Jr. werewolf guy, Talbot, is back again.
Even though he died at the end of his movie.
He died 4 years ago, but...
He back
because apparently werewolves don't really die.
Unless you do silver and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was beaten with silver.
But he was beaten with silver.
He can't be killed, I guess.
Yeah, which is...
kind of the point of the movie.
Much to his chagrin, because he wants a release from his suffering. And
Yeah, you thought silver bullets killed werewolves? Nope.
No, only temporarily.
Well, he wasn't shot. He was beaten with a cane.
He was bashed with a cane, which was made of silver, but not really shot. So
yeah, well, we don't know the shooting does it.
We don't know.
A pair of grave robbers enter the cemetery at night. They stand outside the Talbot crypt. They get in through a window, because, the crypt windows are always open, and look at the various tombs. They're looking for a specific one.
They think
Lawrence Talbot.
Think they might have taken it with him.
Yeah, they think he was buried with his money. We don't know why.
Yeah.
Because, if you think back to the first one, his father outlived him. Mm-hmm. Why would he be the one buried with the money?
I don't know, but that's what these guys think, and so they open the grave, and...
You don't have to be smart to be a grave robber.
He's not decomposed at all.
Yeah. One thief finds wolfsbane in the tomb, and he remembers the famous poem, which you can't go through a movie without bringing that up. The moon comes up, shining its light on Larry's face. He looks surprisingly well preserved for someone who's been dead for 4 years. Mm-hmm. He then reaches up and grabs one of the thieves while the other runs away. Larry then wakes up in the hospital. He's just had an operation. The police found him and assumed he'd been mugged. Inspector Owen asks a lot of questions, but Larry doesn't know what happened. He calls the local police, and the cops say no, Lawrence Talbot died 4 years ago. That must be an imposter.
Can't be him. Can't be him. An imposter.
That night, it's the full moon again, and we see him change this time, which is a nice smooth transition, very well done effect. Mm-hmm. Didn't really see his face change in the first one.
Do this time.
Yeah, you do here.
Yeah, they improved. Yeah.
And he's soon out and about, attacking a policeman. The next morning, he's back in the hospital bed, claiming he killed someone last night, and he thinks he can't die. The doctor says it couldn't be him because the man who died was killed by a wild animal.
And you're just crazy and delusional.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things happen.
Larry admits it all to the inspector, the whole story and the werewolf stuff and the gypsy stuff and, recapping the first movie. Mm-hmm. And, of course, they think he's crazy. The inspector then travels to Manwaring and checks out the crypt. They find the body of the grave robber in the tomb.
But not the body of Larry Talbot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look at a photo of Talbot, and yes, that is him. Talbot, however, chews through his straitjacket and escapes. Larry goes to see Mileva, the old gypsy woman. She knows a man who has the power to help him.
The power of life and death, because she can't do anything. The magic's too powerful.
Yeah.
She can't.
She wants to help, but she can't do anything. But she knows somebody who can. I know this guy.
Yeah, he's a doctor.
They travel together to see Dr. Frankenstein.
And it's a jolly road trip.
Yeah, but he's dead and his castle is in ruins.
Yeah.
From the ghost of Frankenstein.
So what do?
Larry wolfs it up again that night because, he knows it's a full moon and he knows it's a werewolf and he just sits there and changes.
They act surprised. Like,
it's
a
happen.
Full moon. Like, duh, it was a full moon last night. Yeah, these things happen.
These things are predictable. Yeah,
yeah. Some of them sometimes are like totally unexpected.
Larry wolfs it up again, and another villager dies. Mm-hmm. The villagers storm up the hill in pursuit, but the wolfman hides in the rubble of the castle, falling through the floor into a hidden chamber.
Which is not. I thought that was an odd point. The chamber is basically an ice cave. Winter. It's winter in the cavern.
It's normal, like summer, winter, fall, whatever, above the ground, but he falls through and it's all frozen down there.
Yeah, for some reason. And
because it's cool.
Guess what's frozen down there? The monster.
The villagers arrest Mileva, and Larry wakes up the next morning in the frozen tomb of the monster. Larry digs it out, but he now looks like Bela Lugosi. Who was he before? Oh, it was Lon Chaney Jr. before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't have him be in both.
Yeah. Well,
although I think he was going to play a dual role, wasn't he?
Yeah,
this is the one?
They thought about it. Yeah, they decided it'd be too hard and too
expensive.
I've
seen movie posters that said dual role.
They considered it, but decided against it.
Yeah.
Complexity of doing that.
Well, the monster...
With today's technology, they do it a lot easier, and it was pushing the movie technology too much, I guess.
Yeah, especially when they're both in the scene together.
Yeah.
The monster shows Larry to the doctor's vault of secret books, but what he wants isn't there. Larry wants to meet the doctor's daughter, but she refuses to let him have the books. There's a big celebration that night, and Larry freaks out when the singer says something he shouldn't. Dr. Mannering from the hospital recognizes him. He followed the newspaper reports of following the dead bodies, follow the money,
trail of
follow
bodies.
The corpses.
Yeah.
Talbot just wants to die. He's given up on finding a cure. A fat, nosy villager overhears their conversation, and we'll see more of that guy later. And then the monster walks into town, crashing the party in a big way.
Yeah, it's all
Just
festive until...
walking into town.
Yeah.
He and Larry make a getaway in a wagon, but everyone sees it. They all head up to the ruins in search of Talbot and the monster. The Baroness gives Talbot and Mannering her father's diary. They learn the secrets of life, but Larry just wants to die, not live forever.
And Mannering thinks that he can do that. He can, in the same way that life was added to the creature, he thinks he can siphon life out of Frank Talbot.
Positive and negative.
The same principle. Yeah, basically reverse the polarity and hook it through the machines and suck this magical energy that is making Talbot immortal out of him.
Dr. Mannering reads the book and starts to repair the machines. I mean, the castle fell down. The machines are ruined.
Yeah.
But he fixes
rubble.
them.
Yeah. Well, it takes a while.
Well,
some weeks pass.
Yeah.
And machines are being delivered. And
the villagers wonder why Dr. Mannering has ordered a bunch of machines to be delivered to the ruins of the castle.
Well, he agrees.
Why do you think?
Well, the villagers realize the monster can't be destroyed by any normal means either. And Mannering says, well, as long as I'm undoing Talbot, I'll undo the monster too. And
you think he's got their permission?
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, that's why they were sitting around, so calmly and watching the machinery go up and stuff, because that was the agreement. Mannering said, well, let me look into this and learn the technology, and I promise I'll undo the monster, and Frank will help me while we're doing it, and I'll undo him at the same time. And except,
I think you're rationalizing bad writing.
No,
I don't remember any of that.
No, it wasn't there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, except megalomania starts setting in.
Well, yeah, it always does.
Yeah, because doctors can't be trusted with that much power.
Mannering finishes the machine. The Baroness wants him to not let his new power go to his head. He wires up Larry and the monster that night. The plan is to connect the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative and kill them both. Instead, he does it the right way. Instead, he now decides he wants to see the monster at full power.
Yeah.
Let's see what this baby can do.
Yeah, rev him up. Yeah.
The monster gives an evil smile. And it's like the only emotion the monster shows. It's like...
Yeah.
The Baroness screams and pulls a switch.
Good.
Yeah. Baroness screams and pulls a switch that shuts down all the equipment. Doesn't explode the building.
No.
Meanwhile, the fat...
They probably dismantled that self-destruct this time.
Yeah, this guy's not as dumb.
Probably wised up and said, let's not have a switch on the wall that self-destructs the entire castle.
Vazek the villager sets dynamite around the dam upriver, and the full moon comes up.
Yeah, because it's hydroelectric powered.
You're very much. Yeah. We've never seen this dam before, but it's there now.
Yeah.
The river flows right through the base of the castle.
And they can take out the power and take out the castle and the whole lab and all of them all at once.
Which you got to wonder why they didn't do that last movie.
Yeah.
But then the full moon comes out. The monster attacks the Baroness, but the Wolfman comes to her rescue. The two monsters fight epically. And we see Vazek light the fuse to the dynamite. The dam blows up as they fight, and the castle floods. The rest of the castle falls on them with the monsters inside. They got to be dead this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The end.
There was a previous fight, too, wasn't there? That wasn't the only fight.
I think there was just one big fight.
It was just a short scuffle, though.
Yeah, it really wasn't like a
not
major
really much.
thing. No.
Yeah.
We've seen bigger, better fights.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, the story moves fast, mostly assuming we know who all the characters are already.
Yeah, I think if you went into it blind, not knowing any of the...
You'd still know who they were.
You'd still probably know,
yeah.
But yeah, it was more enjoyable, I think, seeing them in order.
Well, what I don't like is when every movie has to redo the origin. This one, they got the existing characters. You know who Frankenstein is. You know who the Wolfman is. Let's not go through all the baloney. Well, the castle blew up at the end of Ghost of Frankenstein, and Dr. Frankenstein was killed then too, but there was no sign of Igor's brain in the monster, so they decided to pick and choose what to carry over from the previous film.
Well, this time
somehow the brain got better.
Well, this time, clearly the Frankenstein monster and the werewolf was killed, so we'll never see him again.
Yeah.
Clearly, castle destroyed, Dr. Manning killed. It's done. No more sequels.
No more, I'm sure. Maleva now is a fairly major character, and she doesn't seem anywhere near as old or creepy as in the first movie.
Yeah,
she got a lot more mainstream.
Aging in reverse or something.
Even though she was trying to help in both films. And I still remember the gypsies always being the evil ones that cause all the trouble, and that's not what happened. At least not in these films.
Not here, yeah.
Yeah. So... Yeah, definitely thumbs up.
Yeah.
It's not going to be better than either of the two first movies.
No,
but
but
worth
decent.
seeing. It is decent.
Yeah.
Especially if you like your versus movies.
Yeah.
Well, moving forward a few years to 1958, what about that Horror of Dracula?
Color. It's in color.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, last week's Curse of Frankenstein was also in color, so
Yes.
hopefully by now the Hammers are all going to be that way.
This is Christopher Lee's first time doing Dracula.
Last week, we looked at Christopher Lee's first time doing Frankenstein. He's going to cover them all.
And
Because guess what's coming up in a couple weeks?
What?
He does The Mummy.
Peter Cushing was actually top billed, and he doesn't turn up until 25 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. Well, Christopher Lee doesn't have that much to do here either. It's mostly the side characters.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Directed, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs up, yeah.
I'm going to go with a...
Not the best.
6 or 7 out of 10.
A spoiler that I know that I like some of the later Draculas better.
Yeah.
His later Draculas.
Yeah, this has some problems.
This wasn't my favorite, but we don't know that yet because we officially haven't reviewed those yet.
Of course, he dies at the end, and you never see a Dracula again.
Oh yeah, just like Frankenstein's monster dies every time in the movie.
This has some good stuff. I mean, it's kind of the same story as the Bela Lugosi Dracula, but it's kind of been updated a little bit.
Yeah,
A lot of the same characters. A couple of them are missing. Yeah, I definitely think the first one is better because the first one kind of follows. Well, neither one follows
the Bela Lugosi
the book too closely. Yeah, Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
Directed by Terence Fisher, written by Jimmy Sangster, stars Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and Michael Gouge?
I don't know.
The butler in one of the Batman
Michael
movies. Go.
Yeah, I think it's probably Go.
1 hour, 22 minutes. Jonathan Harker arrives at Dracula's castle. Yep, saw that coming.
Yep.
No one is there to meet him, but he gets a letter saying to make himself at home. A girl comes into the room and asks for his help.
During the day.
It is during the day.
Yeah.
A girl comes in, asks for his help, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if she is what we think she is.
Oh, it's nighttime by then.
All right.
Yeah. That happened later.
Okay.
Yeah, after dark. Yeah.
She says Dracula is holding her prisoner there, and she runs away when Dracula shows up. Dracula is a fast-talking guy, and he seems very friendly compared to Lugosi. He gives Harker a key to the library, but then locks him in his room.
Yeah, he just seems like a normal guy. That was in my impression.
He's got a good bit of dialogue as he explains the rules of the castle and welcome, glad to meet you and all that. And he doesn't sound like not Bruce Lee, Christopher Lee.
Yeah, no.
I wonder if it was overdubbed with a different actor's voice.
No.
It didn't sound like him.
No, that was him doing a different accent. Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah. And Jonathan Harker is the only character that he talks to that scene. Other than that, he's got growls and snarls and hisses and
which is why I thought maybe since he only has the one scene of dialogue in the entire movie, that I thought maybe they changed it.
No, I read that he was just that's him.
Okay.
Doing a different voice accent. Yeah.
I guess he wasn't that well known. He didn't speak in Frankenstein, and who's going to know what his real voice sounds like?
Yeah.
And I did notice in The Hound of the Baskervilles, which comes a little later, he sounded like Christopher Lee. Yeah, he sounded normal there.
Yeah, his normal accent. Yeah.
All right. Well, Harker then writes in his journal that he intends to end this man's reign of terror.
Yeah,
he knows more than we thought.
He knows exactly what who Dracula is and what he is.
Yeah, he's not the innocent victim. The woman reappears, and Harker promises to help her. She tries to bite him, but Dracula storms into the room and fights her. Harker passes out. In the morning, he's locked in again, and he's got bite marks on his neck. He writes in his journal that he expects to become one of them now. He still wants to find Dracula's daytime resting place and kill him, and he does. He finds him very easily. Maybe a little too easily. You'd think Dracula would at least lock his door.
But, are you going to comment on what an idiot he was?
Oh, he waited till night to go in there?
No, well, yeah.
Well, he pulls out the stake and kills the girl first.
Yeah, the timing first. Granted, he was probably...
It's going to be dark in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
so let's go kill the vampires.
So now is the time to do it. Yeah, but besides, not doing it during full daytime. Yeah, he goes in, he knows how dangerous and powerful Dracula is. And so he goes in, there's the girl and the Dracula, and goes and stakes the girl first. And Dracula wakes up in the meantime.
Because she screams and he hears it, or maybe he feels it.
It's nighttime, and yeah. Yeah. Dumb
Kill
choice.
the tough one first.
Yes. Bad choice.
It gets dark and Dracula gets up and the screen fades to black. Yeah, it's not looking good for Helsing.
Nope.
Or Harker.
Harker. Yeah.
Now, 20 minutes in, Dr. Van Helsing, Peter Cushing, comes to town, and he notices all the garlic hanging there at the inn. The innkeeper warns him not to stir things up, as it's a dangerous place to live. Yeah, they know. The serving girl gives him Harker's journal, which he had hidden or had sent to her or something. He rushes to the castle and finds Harker asleep with fangs. He pulls out a stake and finishes the job.
Poor Harker.
Steak. Yeah. Anyway, Van Helsing then returns to England and explains what happens to Lord Holmwood, who is, I guess, the employer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Lucy Holmwood is already under Dracula's spell. He got there first.
Yeah.
She already knows Jonathan is dead, but no one told her. Van Helsing notices the bite marks on her neck, and he gives instructions to keep her doors and windows locked. Oh, and they need to buy a bunch of garlic, too.
Yeah. But
nothing
to worry about.
It's fine.
Yeah. Don't actually tell them what the problem is. And how important it is to not let people in after dark.
In all these old movies, it's always a matter of communications. If people would just talk.
Communication would have helped here.
Yeah.
Because this is where who ends up taking the garlic away? She can't.
Oh, the servant.
Oh, yeah.
I can't deal with this smell.
Can't stand and so the servant says, okay. Because
nobody told the servant.
Nobody told the servants, and nobody told all these people saying, hey, this is important, and here's why.
Don't mess with the garlic.
Yes.
Lucy orders the servants to take away the garlic and open the windows, which they do.
Yeah.
The next morning, she's dead.
Yeah.
Holmwood blames Van Helsing for both Lucy and Jonathan's deaths. The little girl, Tanya, sees Lucy that night, who is supposed to be dead, and when Holmwood checks out her grave, she's gone.
Undead, yeah.
Van Helsing wants to use Lucy as bait to lead them to Dracula, but Holmwood can't bear it. Instead, they stake her. Let's get her done. Van Helsing and Holmwood do a little detective work, and they track down Dracula. A message arrives for Mina to go to the very same address that night. Mina comes home happy, and the Undertaker's office is abandoned when the men get there. They thought he was hiding out at the Undertaker's, or the morgue, or whatever you call it then. Holmwood gives her a cross, and it burns her hand. While the two men are patrolling outside, Dracula is inside with Mina. Later, they give Mina a blood transfusion. They hear from the servant that she was told to never go in the cellar. They looked everywhere for Dracula.
Didn't think of looking in the cellar.
Well, the maid just says, well, Mina said never to go in the cellar anymore. And
does that mean anything? It's, pretty much.
He got inside, and they were watching all the doors and went, how'd he get inside? Oh, he was there in the house all along.
He was in there all the time.
Yeah. The two men rush downstairs, but Dracula flees past them, grabs Mina, and heads back to his castle. He needs his native soil, and that's the only place he can get it.
He took a little with him in the casket.
Yeah, he brought a box with him.
Yeah.
Dracula digs a grave and tries to bury Mina. Van Helsing chases him into the castle, and they fight. Van Helsing then pulls down the curtains, flooding the room with sunlight, and Dracula crumbles to ash.
The end.
Yeah.
No more Dracula.
Ever.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Maybe it was a conversion thing, but Dracula's voice didn't sound anything like Christopher Lee's voice. Vampires cannot change shape, but Dracula may very well be 500 or 600 years old, we're told in this one. The vampire must rest in his native soil. So these are rules that didn't really come up too much in the old movies.
The cross thing and the garlic thing.
Cross and garlic and soil. And
not a shapeshifter,
But vampires can't change shape.
New
rules.
Not in this one.
It's got good production values and suspense, but the music is a little overbearing and loud at times.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun!
Yeah, kind of a bad audio mix.
Yeah. The story takes a lot of major liberties with the Bram Stoker story, but all the main characters are there. There's no Renfield.
No Renfield. Not in this one.
But it's by far not the worst version of Dracula I've seen, but it is starting to look a little dated. It's looking a little old.
Yeah, this one I thought did.
Yeah. I mean, the 1931 version took place, I don't know, sometime in the past, in the 1800s. And so did this one. But this one just looks a little more obsolete.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one a lot more classic.
Yeah. Yeah. Less classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we watch a short film this week?
We did.
Nightlight. 2019. Directed by Cragen Claiborne and Jess Sanders. Stars Connor Fay and Diane Fay. And we got a YouTube link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 minutes long. We like to keep them quick.
Yeah.
A kid wakes up in the middle of the night and he's scared. He switches on his flashlight, but there's nothing there. Suddenly, he does see a bloody-looking monster under the bed.
Monsters aren't real. Monsters aren't real.
No.
He tells himself.
Yeah.
Except when they are.
And then he sees it and screams, and Dad comes in and looks around, especially under the bed.
There's no monster
nothing
here,
there.
he says.
He says, monsters aren't real, and we're only going to be here. And something stabs him in the back. It's the monster, a bird beak thing that growls like a lion. Things go downhill from there.
Good one.
I liked it. It started out suitably creepy, and the creature is very good.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see much of it, but what we do see is very good. It's like someone took a Skeksis, set it on fire, and let it burn.
And the nightlight is very important. Plays in.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason it's called Nightlight.
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 Yeah, but it's a monster.
I give it a thumbs up.
I give it a thumbs up, too.
Yeah.
Check it out. YouTube link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Nightlight. We like that.
We do.
Are you afraid of the dark?
No.
Would you be in space?
In space, no one can hear you scream.
Wrong movie.
Oh, wrong movie. wrong alien horror movie.
All right, yeah. This time we're going to look at Event Horizon for our modernish horror movie from 1997.
This doesn't really have aliens, though. I'm incorrect saying alien horror movie.
I think that's one of the reasons I hated it so much before.
Because you were expecting aliens.
I was expecting aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, written by Philip Eisner, stars Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, and Kathleen Quinlan, hour and 36 minutes. And I said last week that we were going to watch this, and that I've hated this movie for decades.
And I loved it the first time I saw it. This was the second time I saw it.
They advertised it on, I don't know, TV commercials and stuff, 97, before the internet was, it wasn't before the internet, but
primitive.
TV
it was a primitive internet.
I was expecting a science fiction movie where this thing goes to another universe or something like that, and weird stuff happens, and monsters and aliens, and no,
not quite like that. No.
If you look at the science of this movie, it's pure crap. It's pure made up crap. It's fantasy stuff, and as a science fiction movie, I absolutely detest this movie. Now this week, though. Going back to the movie again, looking at it purely as a horror movie, leaving the sci-fi out of it, I think it's actually pretty good. I have reversed my opinion.
The science is a bit of a stretch.
Leave the nonsense out of it.
Not totally.
They go to this place and they run into these hell monsters and bad things happen. As a horror movie, it's fine. Just don't try to logic it out with science.
I can try a little bit.
Yes, there may be some weird monsters in other dimensions that do some bad things.
Well, part of the problem was it's way ahead of technologically.
Well,
because they give like a brief synopsis of.
We're told that in 2015, the first manned colony is founded on the moon.
The first permanent moon base
in 2032.
So we're already behind. We're 4 years behind already on that.
They were being a little overly optimistic.
Yeah.
In 2032, mining operations begin on Mars. In 2040, the ship Event Horizon disappears beyond the planet Neptune. This movie takes place in 2047.
They were experimenting with a new kind of engine.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right on the time. A lot of these movies are either way too optimistic or way too pessimistic.
So 100 years from now, the technology, let's just say there could be an Event Horizon ship. They figure out how to fold.
Oh, I'm sure in 100 years they'll be able to travel to Neptune. That's no big thing.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is this whole dimensional folding thing. And
well,
I don't know. Maybe somebody's working on that right now.
It's theories, and it's based on scientific theories. And, as the eyes roll. I saw that. They rolled right around your head. Yeah.
Dr. Weir wakes up and looks out the window. He's on a huge space station orbiting the Earth. He's told to report to the Lewis and Clark ship, a search and rescue craft on a top-secret mission. He gets walked through the procedures for using the grav couch, and 56 days later they arrive at their destination. Weir wakes up and thinks he hears voices, but he's the only one who's awake.
And just to clarify, the grav couch is like a suspended animation thing.
Yeah, they sleep all the way there.
It's a floating tank that protects them from the extreme G-forces.
Which is a scientific, they've messed with that for real, yeah.
Yeah.
Then they actually wake him up, the thing he just experienced was all a dream.
Mm-hmm.
We then meet the crew and listen as Weir briefs them on their mission. They've found the lost ship Event Horizon, and their job is to recover it and find out where it's been for the last 7 years.
It just popped right back where it disappeared.
The Event Horizon was created to travel faster than light through a dimensional gateway, and they want to know what happened. He's the one who built the gravity drive, and they were just ready to test the engines and then just disappeared. They have a recording of a bunch of noise and screaming, except for a little bit of Latin.
Yeah, he wasn't on the ship. He designed it and built the engine, designed the ship, but he actually wasn't there for the test.
If anybody can figure out what happened, they figure it'll be him. Mm-hmm. They just about run into the ship, hidden within Neptune's clouds, but it seems intact.
And you know what? It was a dark and stormy night. It was, because they go into
thunder and lightning,
and it's very dark. Yeah, they're in Uranus's upper atmosphere. And it's a dark and stormy night there.
Yeah.
Perfect for a horror movie.
The captain asks why there are explosives built in all over the deck, and Weir explains that the ship can be split into two in an emergency.
Yeah, the people are at this end, and the engine is at this end, and there's kind of a tube connecting them with explosives. In the worst case scenario, they could separate from that engine. Apparently they didn't, though.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
They find the ship is intact.
And the ship is huge compared to their rescue ship,
much bigger,
too. It's much, much bigger.
They find a body, and then they restore power to the ship. The gravity drive powers up, and Justin, the engineer, gets sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a major explosion on the Lewis and Clark. They all have to evacuate to the Event Horizon.
It released a powerful electromagnetic wave.
The engine core did something.
Yeah, let out a burp. And it, you can see the shock wave going, and as it goes through their ship, it blows everything, and all the circuitry and hull damage and all kinds of mess.
They restore gravity and start repairing. They only have enough air for about 20 hours, and then they find some kind of blood-like biological glop spread all over the walls. Justin comes out of the drive, and he seems comatose. Weir explains that the ship creates a black hole and uses its immense power to bend space-time. And he's got this little thing where he takes a piece of paper and he folds it over and says, that's the quickest way through.
Yeah, you just go instead of going from point A to point B, you bring point A and B together, go through the portal, and then unfold it, and there you are.
Yeah, it's a really good little graphic demonstration. It works well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Weir insists that the gateway cannot open by itself, but Cooper insists that's what he saw happen to Justin.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor hallucinates her son, but he's not real. Weir crawls into a little tunnel to repair a burnout, and when the lights goes out, he sees his dead wife with no eyes. The captain sees a burning man come up out of the pit around the core.
So they're all having trippy hallucinations, except they don't seem to be hallucinations. They seem to be physically real.
Yeah, physically, the one guy, he could feel the heat off the burning man.
Mm-hmm.
The pilot, Smith, yells at Weir, "Did you break all the laws of physics and you didn't think there'd be a price?" There's always one.
Yeah, well,
there are things man was not meant to know.
That's right, yeah.
And he attacks Weir. Stark thinks the ship is alive and the visions are a sort of defense mechanism, but the captain doesn't accept that. Justin gets in the airlock without a suit. It shows you things. Horrible things.
Yeah, he woke up.
Yeah.
And just kind of walked out of sickbay and straight to a airlock.
Yeah. He hits the button and then the real Justin wakes up. And then he panics and freaks and cries for 30 seconds while the countdown goes and the door opens. Why would you put a 30-second countdown with no override, no off switch, no way of canceling it? Once you hit that button, the door's going to open, but you got 30 seconds
and you can't undo it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst design ever.
Plot device. Yeah. Very bad design to do that. Yeah.
They bring him back in and put him in stasis, and they now have 4 hours of oxygen left.
Because the captain and one of the other guys are outside, and the captain zooms in and
he gets shot out into space, but not for long.
And the captain pushes him back in the airlock and goes back inside with him. And he's hurt, but not dead.
Weir says he doesn't know where the ship has been for 7 years. The captain thinks the ship gets inside your head and shows you things that it knows will scare you. DJ thinks the ship has gone beyond this universe. It's been outside reality. The recording said, in Latin, "Save yourselves from hell." Could the ship have actually been in literal hell for 7 years? They finally decode the black box recording, and yeah, it looks like hell.
Yeah. Oh, there's the crew. Yikes.
Yeah. Captain Miller decides to destroy the ship. The ship then starts fighting back.
Well, we're hell still.
Yeah, well, yeah, not so much yet. Yeah. It tricks the Doctor into following hallucination and falling into a deep pit. Weir watches his wife slit her own wrists, another hallucination. The ship then tells Weir he'll never be alone again because he's with her. He's now part of the ship. And then Weir pokes his own eyes out. Don't need them no more.
Yeah.
Smith now sees Weir on the Clark, and Miller notices the explosives are missing.
Well, just one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's too late. The ship explodes, killing Smith and Cooper and leaving everyone else stranded on the event horizon.
No, they're on the event horizon.
Yeah, nowhere else to go.
Nowhere else to go, yeah.
Weir kills DJ. Captain Miller finds Stark. Weir explains that the ship has crossed over to a dimension of pure chaos, and now she's alive. He set the gravity drive to activate in 10 minutes. Again with the timers.
Yep.
Cooper makes it back somehow. He got shot way off into space, but he came back.
Oh, yeah, when the other ship blew up.
Yeah, he was outside, got blown away.
Yeah.
But returns.
He found a way.
Cooper makes it back, but Weir blows him off the ship again. Weir is sucked out into the void. But Miller pulls himself and Stark through a door. Cooper then comes back in through an airlock. This guy is hard to kill.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
He's had a hard day. He's had a hard day.
Yeah.
Miller wants to split the ship and get away from the core and fly home. They need to hurry, as the core is going to activate in a matter of minutes. Weir is back somehow, and he confronts Miller. He shows Miller scenes that look like they came straight out of Hellraiser. Miller detonates the explosives, splitting off the two halves of the ship. The core activates and takes the rear half of the ship with it. Cooper and Stark watch from the front half. So 72 days later, they're rescued.
The captain and Weir. Well, Weir, he's all gleeful, like, the ship won't let me leave. I'm part of the ship now.
He gets what he wanted.
Yeah.
And it's a really good-looking science fiction movie. The sets, effects, and acting are all excellent. For 22 years, I've hated this as a really bad sci-fi movie, but looking at it from a horror perspective, it's actually very, very good. It really is like Hellraiser in space.
Yes.
None of the science makes any real sense, and that's always been my major gripe with it. But if you just take it from what is said without too much thought, it works well from that point of view. It really did go to hell, another dimension. These alien things happen. The ship really is alive, and it's doing all this evil stuff. Don't expect aliens. Don't expect more explanation than that.
Yeah, the ship itself is alive. Yeah. Comes back as a...
I will go with either a 1 or an 8 for this one.
I give it a 9. I like it.
All right.
Yeah. It would be good. And very Hellraiser in the, the hellish images and the Cenobite kind of things from Hellraiser. Very reminiscent of that. And and the drive itself, too, makes you think of the box.
Yes, very much so. Instead of the square box, you got these concentric rings that float around.
Yeah, it's got a central ball with 3 rings around it, and when they align just right, that's when the drive opens.
It's very neat.
Yeah. That'd be a neat sculpture for the living room. You need a really big living room. But
got to be full size.
Yeah.
One of those and the cube, and somebody needs to have like a triangle one in the next movie.
Yeah.
And speaking of weird things, we had an international movie this week too called Inside from 2007, directed by Alexandre Bastillo, Julian Mari, written by Julian Mari and Alexandre Bastillo, stars Alison Paradis, Jean-Baptiste Tabourin, and Claude Lulay.
This is a French movie.
Very.
In French.
1 hour, 22
English
minutes,
subtitles.
French with subtitles. Did you like it?
No.
Okay. I'm middle of the road with this one. It's one of those someone is in the house with you movies. It's got good gore.
It's got gore. See, my final note, gore, blood, and gore. A completely unsatisfying...
You spelled faster wrong.
Are we allowed to curse?
Don't have to now. Okay, well, I thought it was better than that. It was decent enough. This is definitely a date night movie for your pregnant girlfriend and you to go see.
It's just a delivery vehicle for gore. If you and again, gore.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's good special effects, realistic. Yeah.
If you think pregnancy is a gross thing,
it can be grosser.
You can kick that up a notch.
Yeah.
Well, we start out looking at the baby inside the womb as his mother survives a car crash. Her husband isn't so lucky. Credits roll. 4 months later, it's Christmas Eve, and she's planning to go to the hospital tomorrow morning to have labor induced. She meets up with her boss in the park. He's a newspaper editor, and he mentions that there's something going on downtown and there are riots and burning cars, but he doesn't have anyone available to report on those incidents. He'll be the one to drive Sarah to the hospital in the morning, and she returns home to an empty house, waiting for the morning to come. Baby's coming on Christmas Day.
And she's still single. Yeah.
Well, the husband died 4 months ago, and she's in mourning.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I mean.
Living alone,
Yeah, living alone. No roommates, nobody there.
She has a surprisingly graphic dream where she vomits up the baby and wakes up when the doorbell rings. Yeah, the baby. Yeah. And there's a lady out there who wants to make a phone call for help. Sarah says no, and the woman calls her by name and says she knows her husband is dead. Sarah threatens to call the police, and the woman goes away. Oh, no, she doesn't.
No,
the power goes out, and she threatens to break in the door. Sarah then calls the police. Sarah grabs her camera and starts taking flash photos of the woman outside. The police arrive and search the area, but she's gone. They promise the police promise to check in again later. In the next scene, we see that the woman is actually inside the house. Sarah goes to sleep, and the woman comes into the bedroom. The woman gathers supplies in the bathroom, and it looks like she's planning to cut the baby out of Sarah's belly. With scissors.
Snip, snip.
At the first cut, she actually sticks it in there. Sarah wakes up and they fight. Sarah locks herself in the bathroom where she finds she has a big messy cut on her face, and her water has just broken. That baby's coming soon. But she's covered in blood because they were both stabbing each other with the scissors and fingernails and clawing, and it was quite a battle.
Yeah.
Sarah's boss arrives to drive Sarah to the hospital, and he has a key. He runs into the crazy lady and introduces himself. He assumes that the woman is Sarah's mother.
That's what she tells him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She goes along with that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I'll take her to the hospital. It's fine. She's my daughter.
Yeah.
And then the doorbell rings, and it's Sarah's real mother shows up.
Oops.
Awkward.
Yeah.
The real mother then storms upstairs to the bathroom, and Sarah stabs her in the neck, killing her.
Not realizing.
Couldn't look first?
No.
The crazy lady then stabs the boss, and it's back to the two of them. And this is all very messy.
Yes, very
There's
bloody.
more screaming and stabbing through the almost closed
bloody
bathroom door.
Bloody and spurty and woundy and, yeah.
Yeah, it's messy.
And the bathroom door seems to alternate between being like fortress solid and flimsy enough to stab through with a piece of broken mirror. I was bothered by that.
Yeah.
Plot points. When the bad lady is trying to break in, she can't, and yet she ends up locking Sarah in by jamming the door on the outside. So she has a
broken piece of mirror,
and is able to stab through the door with just that.
True.
It was a little inconsistent there.
Yeah.
How tough the door was.
The police return from midnight check-in. She answers the door and pretends to be Sarah, crazy lady. There's different cops, and they almost fall for it, but then they notice she's not pregnant. Crazy lady then stabs the cop who is arresting her, and then goes after the other one with a policeman's gun. The third cop comes in with an already apprehended criminal in tow.
Because you can't leave him in the car.
That didn't seem terribly realistic to me. Wouldn't you just call for backup at that point?
Yeah, sure. Seems like you would, yes.
Go into the house chained to a criminal that's likely to stab you in the back.
When you know that the other two cops have run into trouble inside.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
The power goes out again, and the cop and criminal duo go to look for the breaker box. She kills them both apparently kills them both with a pair of scissors in the dark. Sarah bites the woman in the face and makes her way downstairs. The woman hits Sarah in the head with a toaster, bonk, which nearly knocks her out, but Sarah turns the tables with a flaming can of cooking spray. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Very
effective.
Sarah then gives herself a tracheotomy with a knitting needle and duct tapes it to stop the bleeding when she's done. And I completely don't know why she did that.
That's not how that works. Because she was
Oh,
choking.
I know it's not how it works, but why do it?
She was choking on blood. She couldn't breathe.
Then spit the blood out. I mean,
Yeah,
sticking a hole in your throat is not going to help.
It wasn't
that.
how a trach works or why you'd need a trach. It was just bad medical. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that procedure is supposed to work.
She couldn't breathe before, stabs herself in the neck, and she could breathe after.
Yeah.
And just disregard medically. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not how that works, and it's unclear why it was necessary in the first place.
Because she'd been hit in the throat and mouth. And,
Finally, they confront each other, and the woman explains that she was the driver of the other car in the beginning, and she lost her baby then.
And it was Sarah that caused the accident. And so she blames Sarah.
Also, which is not completely clear that it was her causing the accident.
Oh, but that's what the woman says.
Well, she says that, yeah. One of the injured cops then turns the power back on, and then the cop goes berserk and beats Sarah severely in the stomach with a baseball bat.
And that made no sense whatsoever.
No.
He was dead.
And at this point, I jumped to the conclusion...
It's a zombie apocalypse. That's what's going on downtown.
Because the guy had mentioned riots downtown, and I'm like, oh, it's a zombie apocalypse. They're all going to get up and turn on these people.
But no.
That's not it.
The bad lady just kind of stabs the cop in the side.
That would have been so much better of a twist, though.
Oh, it would have been.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a zombie movie that far in. That would have been neat.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I kind of hated it.
The woman then helps Sarah deliver the baby with scissors. The stairs literally run red with blood. Sarah dies, and the crazy woman sits in the rocker and rocks the baby. Mm-hmm. The end. This is really gory and tense, with some awesome special effects. Various scenes of carnage are interspersed with a point of view from the in utero baby, and it looks really uncomfortable to be inside Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite clear on why the cop, or maybe it was the criminal, attacked Sarah. For a moment, I thought it was a zombie, which would have been a neat twist considering all the talk of riots downtown. In the end, it was all very disappointing. So, yeah, not your best date movie.
No, not the best movie at all. It just didn't do it for me. I didn't like it.
I was not bored. I was entertained throughout.
I wouldn't call it bored. I was just unsatisfied.
It's not good. Yeah.
I'd give it a...
And that big logical thing at the end that made no sense.
I'd only give it a 2, I think, overall.
What did I say earlier? Did I say higher?
I don't think I did. I think you gave it a thumbs up. You implied a thumbs up, but I don't think you...
I didn't hate it, but I'll go 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's our show.
It is.
Thanks for joining us. Stop in during the week at horrorguys.com for news and horror updates, comment on the podcast, or to contact us. Get your snacks and get ready for next week, because we'll be watching the Universal horror flick Phantom of the Opera from 1943.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the 1920 silent one way back when.
And this is a color remake with sound.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll be better.
Maybe.
The Hammer horror classic, Hound of the Baskervilles, which I mentioned earlier, from 1959.
Kind of horror.
Well, it's definitely horror. There's a big scary thing at the end.
Yeah, ghost.
The new movie Godzilla, King of the Monsters from 2019. And our international feature Uzumaki, or Spiral, from 2007. Uzumaki. Give those...
Spiral.
Yeah. Give those a watch this week and see if your opinion matches ours. Check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/horrorguys, or you can just buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/horrorguys. I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Brownie Brittle.
Brownie Brittle.
Brownie Brittle.